My sister didn't knock, she barged in shaking like she saw a ghost. She grabbed my shoulders and whispered, "Don't stay home tonight, please." Before I could ask why, someone tapped on the door, gently. Not knocking. Not pounding. Tapping like he knew we were inside. And when I peeked, I recognized the man my sister was running from. I was washing dishes when I heard the first knock. Not a normal knock. A trembling, uneven one. As if the person on the other side didn't want to be heard. But also didn't want to be alone. It was late. Almost 11:40 p.m. The kind of quiet hour where the whole street feels asleep. And even the refrigerator hum sounds louder than your thoughts. I dried my hands and walked toward the door, expecting a neighbor. Or maybe a package someone delivered to the wrong address again. But when I opened the door, I froze. It was my sister. Emily. Her hair was soaked from the drizzle outside. Her hoodie clung to her shoulders. And her breath was shaking the way it used to when she was little. And afraid of thunderstorms. She didn't even say my name. She just stepped forward and wrapped her arms around me, pressing her face into my shoulder. Hey, what happened?" I whispered, holding her. My voice suddenly felt too small for the moment. She didn't answer. I could feel her heartbeat racing like she had been running. Or running from something. When she finally loosened her grip, I saw her eyes. Red. Wet. Wide. Not from crying alone. But from fear. Talk to me," I said softly. "What's going on?" She looked over her shoulder, toward the darkness of the driveway. As if someone might rise out of it at any second. Then she stepped inside and shut the door herself, turning the lock twice. I didn't even know she knew how my lock worked. "Did someone follow you?" I asked. She shook her head. But then she whispered something that made my stomach drop. "Don't stay home tonight." Her voice cracked on the last word. I blinked. "Emily, what are you talking about?" She wiped her face and pushed her hair back with shaky hands. But she still didn't answer. She just whispered again, firmer this time. "Please. Not tonight." Her eyes drifted toward my living room window. The curtains were half open. The streetlight outside flickered like a dying heartbeat. She quickly walked over and shut the curtains completely, pulling them so tight that not even a sliver of light peeked through. Then she turned back to me, tears collecting again. "I promise I'll explain everything. She swallowed hard. "I just need you to trust me. Please." The funny thing is, Emily has always been the calm one. The reasonable one. The one who tells me to stop overthinking everything. Seeing her like this shook something in me. "Okay," I said. "Okay, I trust you. Just tell me what's wrong." But before she could answer, before a single word left her mouth, there was another knock. Not soft. Not trembling. This time, it was firm. Slow. And perfectly intentional. Emily's face went white. She grabbed my wrist with cold fingers and whispered. "He found me." The second knock didn't sound like someone asking to be let inside. It sounded like someone who already knew they would be. A deep, steady thud. Not loud. Not rushed. Almost patient. Like whoever stood on the other side of my door was waiting for the moment we would break. Emily's grip tightened on my wrist until I could feel her nails through my skin. "Don't move," she whispered. But my breath had already frozen in my chest. The knock came again. Slower this time. As if the person was enjoying the silence between each hit. My house isn't big, the one-story, open rooms. So the sound traveled through every corner. Like a heartbeat we couldn't escape. I swallowed, stepping back from the door. "Emily," I whispered, barely forming the words. "Who's out there?" Her eyes didn't leave the door. Not for a second. Not even to blink. Her face. I had seen her scared before. We grew up in a neighborhood where fear was a familiar guest. But this wasn't normal fear. This looked like knowing. Knowing something dark. Something personal. Something she didn't want me near. You're shaking. Talk to me. She didn't look at me. But she whispered. He shouldn't have found us. The word us hit me. Us? Not just her. The knock came a third time. Harder. Sharper. Closer to a pounding than a knock. This time, something rattled on the wall. A picture frame. Our picture. Me and Emily. In better days. Emily stepped back, pulling me with her. Her hand trembling as she reached for the lamp next to the couch. I nodded. She turned it off. Darkness swallowed the room. Only the faint orange glow from the streetlight leaked through the curtains. She pressed her back against mine to keep track of me. Her breath matched mine, short, uneven, terrified. Emily, what did you do? I whispered so quietly I almost didn't hear myself. Her answers came in pieces, like shattered glass. I didn't think he'd follow. I thought I had more time. He wasn't supposed to find where you live. You have to trust me. Another knock. No, not a knock. This time, it was a scrape. Metal on wood. Slow. Deliberate. Like a key. That didn't quite fit. But wanted to. My stomach turned. Emily, does he have a key? Her silence was my answer. I felt my blood go cold. Then. A voice on the other side of the door. Male. Low. Calm. Emily, open the door. My whole body tensed. That voice. It wasn't angry. It wasn't rushed. It was almost gentle. As if he knew he didn't need to shout. As if he knew. We had nowhere to go. Emily covered her mouth to muffle the sound of her breathing. But her shoulders shook violently. He spoke again. I know you're in there. Then he tried the doorknob. A slow turn. Soft. Confident. He wasn't trying to break in. He was testing. Seeing if we had locked it. Seeing how far he could go. The door clicked. Emily's knees almost buckled. I held her arms, whispering. Who is he? Her voice broke. He's not supposed to know about you. Me? He tried the doorknob again, harder. The latch shook. Emily grabbed my hand with both of hers now. Please, she whispered, don't let him take me. The doorknob twisted again. This time with enough force to make the metal groan. Emily squeezed my hand so tightly it hurt. I didn't pull away. Outside, the man's shadow shifted against the crack under the door. Slowly passing from left to right. As if he were studying the house. Studying us. I could feel Emily's pulse racing from the grip she had on me. It felt like she was trying to anchor herself to something. Anything. Before she fell apart. Emily, I whispered, my voice barely audible. Who is he? She didn't answer. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. Only tears. I tried again, I need to know. Her head moved the slightest bit. A small, broken shake. I never wanted you involved, she whispered. Her voice cracked mid-sentence. You're the only person I have left. I was trying to protect you. Another slow scrape across the door. Not a key this time. Something else. Something metallic. Dragged along the wood. My heart slammed against my ribs. Then the man spoke again, softly. Too softly. Emily. His voice was calm, almost coaxing. You can't hide forever. Her body jerked, as if the words physically hit her. Please, she mouthed silently to me. Don't say anything. I didn't. I couldn't. My throat felt tight, as if the air had been pulled out of the room. The shadow beneath the door stopped. Perfectly still. Then, a quiet chuckle. It slid under the door like smoke. You always run to her, don't you? The man said. My blood turned cold. He knew her. He knew me. And worse. He expected this. Emily leaned closer, her forehead nearly touching mine. Her breath shaky and shallow. I was coming to warn you, she whispered. I wasn't supposed to bring him here. But he saw me leave. He followed me. I swallowed. What does he want? Emily's eyes filled again, tears glistening in the dim light. He wants something I found. Her voice wavered. Something I wasn't supposed to see. Another scrape. Another test of the handle. The man wasn't rushing. He wasn't panicking. He was sure of himself. Emily, he said again, this time with a hint of impatience. Open the door. You know I hate when you make things messy. Emily's fingers dug into my arm. I didn't know this man. But Emily did. And the way she reacted to his voice. This wasn't just fear. This was trauma. History. Something deep. Emily, I whispered, did he hurt you? She closed her eyes. A tear slipped down her cheek. She nodded. Once. Barely noticeable. But enough for my stomach to drop. Another knock. Hard now. Frustrated. Demanding. I'm not going to ask again, he said. You have something that belongs to me. I felt my chest tighten. What did you take? I asked her quietly. Emily wiped her tears with the back of her sleeve. Trying to gather herself. I didn't take anything, she whispered. He left it. By accident. And I wasn't supposed to open it. Open what? I asked. She looked up at me, eyes terrified. A flash drive. The pounding on the door grew louder, sharper. Then the man said something that made my stomach twist. If you don't open this door, I'll come in another way. Emily's breath hitched. He will, she whispered. He's done it before. The word flash drive hung in the air like a threat. It didn't sound dangerous on its own. But the way Emily said it. The way her voice broke. The way her fingers shook as she held onto my arm. You would think she was holding a live wire. Outside, the man pressed his palm flat against the door. The wood creaked under the weight. Not a bang. Not a punch. Just pressure. Steady. Possessive. Like the door belonged to him. Like Emily did. My pulse thudded against my throat. Emily, I whispered, what's on the drive? Her breath came fast. Shallow. She kept wiping her cheeks as if clearing the tears would make her think clearer. I don't know everything, she whispered. I only opened one folder. I shouldn't have. I didn't know what I was looking at. Her eyes flicked to the door when the shadow under it shifted. The man adjusted his stance, pacing slowly. Heel to toe. The boards on the front porch creaking beneath him. Explain, I said gently. Not demanding. Not angry. Just trying to keep her grounded. Her chest rose sharply. I was at his place. We were. She hesitated. I was helping him with something. It wasn't supposed to be anything serious. Her breathing sped up again. She grabbed a throw pillow from my couch and held it against her chest. Like she needed something to keep her heart from falling apart. He stepped out to take a call. And I saw the drive on his desk. No label. No name. She swallowed. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I was curious. Maybe I thought he was hiding something. Maybe I already didn't trust him. A deep, slow exhale shuddered through her shoulders. I plugged it into his laptop. Another knock thundered through the door. This time the house shook. Emily whimpered quietly and shrank back into the darkness of the living room. The man's voice followed. Cold. Stripped of the softness he used earlier. Emily, you're running out of time. She closed her eyes, curled inward as if the voice itself could touch her. Emily, I said again, softer this time, what did you see? For a moment, she didn't answer. Her fingers twisted the edge of the pillow, knuckles white. Her voice was barely there when she spoke. People. My stomach dropped. People? I repeated, confused. She nodded. Pictures. Names. Documents. Conversations. Transactions. Her voice cracked on the last word. I didn't understand half of it, but I understood enough. Her eyes lifted to mine, hollow, terrified. He's involved with something bad. Really bad. The man jiggled the doorknob hard. This time it hit the latch so violently the metal rang. Emily jumped. I moved closer to her instinctively, shielding her with my body. What kind of bad? I asked. Already fearing the answer. Emily's mouth opened, then closed again. She looked like she was fighting the urge to collapse. Another creak on the porch. The man stepped off the mat. The boards whined under his weight as he moved to the side of the doorframe. He was checking the windows. The realization hit me like ice water. He wasn't knocking anymore. He was assessing. Emily, I whispered urgently, what kind of bad? She finally answered. Her voice so soft it barely existed. Illegal. Dangerous. People who disappeared. Money that changed hands. I don't know everything. But I know enough to make him scared. I stared at her. And scared people do dangerous things. Her eyes filled again, this time not just with fear, but realization. That's why he's here, she whispered. He thinks I took it. I felt my whole body tense. You didn't? Her silence was my answer. Then the man outside spoke again. But this time, he wasn't at the door. He was at my side window. I can see you. Emily gasped, covering her mouth to stifle the cry that broke out. My heart slammed into my ribs. I whispered, grabbing her shoulders, where is the flash drive? Her face crumpled. In my pocket. When Emily whispered, it's in my pocket. My entire body went cold. Not because of the flash drive. But because of the timing. Right then. Just as those words left her lips. The man outside tapped on the side window. Not knocking. Not pounding. Tapping. Soft. Purposeful. Almost playful. Like he could hear through the walls. Like he was reminding us how close he really was. Emily's breath hitched so violently I thought she might pass out. She buried herself behind me instinctively, her fingers curling into the back of my shirt like a terrified child. The tapping slowed. 1, 2, 3 finger taps along the glass. As if he were sliding them across it. Then his silhouette appeared. A tall, dark outline framed by the thin curtain. His head slightly tilted. Hands in pockets. Watching. He didn't look like a burglar. Or a desperate man. He looked casual. Comfortable. Almost bored. As if this wasn't the first time he'd done this. Emily. His voice seeped through the wall, smooth and low. Come outside. We need to talk. Emily shook her head violently behind me. Tears spilled silently down her cheeks. I turned and cupped her face gently between my hands. Look at me, I whispered. Her eyes met mine, full of dread. Haunted. We're okay, I lied softly. We're not opening anything. Not the window. Not the door. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked into a sob she fought to swallow. Outside, the man stepped closer to the window. The outline of his face sharpened through the fabric. He leaned forward, resting his forehead against the glass. Emily. This time his tone dropped into something darker. A simmering impatience. You have something of mine. Emily flinched so hard I almost lost my grip on her shoulders. Her voice came out tiny. He knows. How? I whispered. Her hand trembled as she reached into her hoodie pocket and pulled out the flash drive. A small, black, unmarked USB stick. It looked harmless. So impossibly small compared to the terror it carried. I was panicking, she said through soft sobs. I didn't delete anything. I didn't take screenshots. I didn't show anyone. I ran. I ran because I knew if he saw me looking. The window shook violently. The frame rattled. As if he'd hit it with his palm. Emily screamed into my shoulder. Emily, he called out, louder now. You know how this ends. I felt my stomach twist. Fear changed Emily's face. Not just into panic. But despair. Please, she whispered to me. You don't understand. He won't leave without it. He won't walk away. My mind raced. Then we call 911. She shook her head instantly, wildly. No. He has friends on the force. He told me. He bragged about it. That stopped me cold. I stared at her. Her tear-filled eyes were deadly serious. He said if I ever talked, nobody would believe me. She dragged in a shaking breath. And he was right. The tapping on the window started again. Slower. Measured. Emily, he said. Open the door. I'm trying to be patient. Emily covered her ears, sliding down to the floor, curling her knees into her chest. I shouldn't have gone to his place, she whispered, voice breaking. I shouldn't have looked. I shouldn't have taken it. I shouldn't have come here. I put you in danger. I put you in so much danger. Hey, I knelt down, gripping her shoulders firmly. You did the right thing. You came to me. You're safe. No, I'm not, she cried. We're not. The flash drive slipped from her trembling hand and hit the hardwood floor with a tiny plastic clink. Outside, his shadow shifted. The silhouette turned its head. As if he heard it drop. Silence. Then, slowly, deliberately. The window latch twitched. He was trying to open it. My heart seized. Emily, I whispered urgently, grabbing her hand. We need to move. Right now. We didn't have time to think. The window latch twitched again. A soft metallic click that felt louder than thunder in the silence. Emily's hand was cold and trembling in mine as I pulled her away from the window. Back toward the hallway that led deeper into the house. Come on, I whispered. We're going to the back. Emily's steps were shaky, her breathing uneven. Every creak of the floorboard beneath us sounded like it might give us away. Behind us, the man tapped the glass again. Almost lazily. As if he knew a better way in. I'll find you, he murmured. Muffled but unmistakable. Emily stopped in the hallway, her shoulders curling inward. He's not bluffing, she whispered. He always finds people. That's what he does. My heart hammered as I shut the hallway light off. Leaving us in near darkness. Only the faint glow from the kitchen nightlight cut through the shadows. Emily grabbed my arm again. Holding on like she was afraid her own legs might stop working. I pulled her toward the back bedroom. The room had one small window that faced the neighbor's wooden fence. Higher, harder to reach, and completely hidden from the street. A small, safe place. As safe as anything could be tonight. Sit, I whispered, lowering her to the edge of the bed. Her hair stuck to her damp face. Her knees were pulled up, her hands gripping the blanket. Her whole body trembled with the kind of fear that looked like it came from old wounds. Ones she had learned to hide. I knelt in front of her, pushing her hair back gently. Emily. Look at me. She lifted her head slowly. Her eyes red and shining in the dim light. He can't get in through this room, I said softly. This window is too high, and I reinforced the latch last winter. Her voice shook. That won't stop him. I swallowed. Emily, what did he do to you? Before tonight? Her gaze flicked away. Not out of defiance. But shame. I met him 6 months ago, she whispered. I didn't know who he was. Not really. He seemed charming. Confident. He made me feel seen. Her breath quivered. But then he started showing up everywhere. At my work. At the grocery store. Outside my apartment. He always said it was coincidence. A hollow expression settled into her face. It wasn't. My chest tightened. You should have told me. She laughed, a broken, shattered sound. I thought I could get away. I thought if I stayed quiet and didn't provoke him, he would lose interest. The house creaked somewhere near the living room. A slow, dragging footstep. Emily went rigid. He doesn't lose interest, she whispered. He collects people. And he keeps them scared. A cold wave rolled through me. Another noise. One subtle, but unmistakable. The soft slide of furniture being shifted. He was inside the house. I felt the blood drain from my face. Emily lifted her head slowly, her lips parting in terror. Did you lock the back door? She whispered. My stomach sank. I think so. I'm pretty sure. But now I wasn't sure. At all. A floorboard groaned just beyond the hallway. Emily's fingers wrapped around my wrist again. Her nails digging in. Don't move, she mouthed. Every muscle in my body tensed. The sound came again. A soft, scraping breath. Like someone trying not to be heard. But standing close. Too close. A shadow shifted against the hallway wall. Long and slow. Then I heard it. A faint, satisfied whisper. There you are. Emily's grip tightened. Her voice, barely audible, broke into the air with one trembling phrase. He found us. The whisper. There you are. Slid down the hallway like cold breath. Emily's fingers locked around my wrist so tight it almost numbed my hand. I didn't pull away. I couldn't. Every instinct screamed at me to move. To run. To hide. But fear pinned my feet to the carpet. A shadow shifted on the far wall of the hallway. Stretching long and thin under the faint nightlight glow. It moved slowly. Casually. As if the person attached to it wasn't searching for us, but enjoying the wait. Emily squeezed her eyes shut. He always plays like this, she whispered. Barely forming words through panic. He likes the fear. He likes knowing you're trapped. The idea of someone enjoying this sent a wave of nausea through me. Another creak. Closer. Measured. I tried to breathe quietly, but my chest felt trapped between fear and instinct. My pulse hammered in my ears so loudly I wondered if he could hear it too. Emily. The voice was closer now. Soft. Patient. Sinister in its calm. I told you we'd talk. Emily pressed her forehead to her knees, trying to make herself smaller. As though shrinking her body might hide her from the reality pressing closer. He can't hurt you here, I whispered. Even though I wasn't sure. She shook her head furiously. He doesn't stop because you tell him no, she whispered. He stops when he gets what he wants. What does he want? I asked. Her voice caught on a sob. The drive. And me. And control. A chill slid down my spine. Another floorboard groaned. Now at the mouth of the hallway. I could picture him standing there. Hands in his pockets. Head tilted in that mocking way he did at the window. Not rushing. Not angry. Just entertained. Emily's breathing became quick and shallow. She looked like she was drowning. I gripped her shoulders softly. Emily, listen to me. He may know the house. He may think he knows you. But he doesn't know me. And he doesn't know what you've told me. She shook her head, tears falling again. You don't understand. He doesn't care if people fight back. He likes it. Her voice broke completely. That's what scares me. He likes it when you resist. The air grew colder as a shadow finally appeared at the end of the hallway. A faint silhouette. Still. Silent. Just watching. Emily's fingers dug into my arm. I held my breath as the shadow shifted slightly. Angling toward us. He was close enough to speak without raising his voice. Emily. He said, quietly amused. I can see two of you. Emily gasped, clapping a hand over her mouth. My stomach twisted. He knew she wasn't alone. He knew exactly which room we were in. Emily, he continued. His voice smooth as glass. You made this harder than it needed to be. Emily's entire body shook. Please, she whispered. But the word died before it left her throat. He stepped forward. Just one step. But it echoed through the hallway like a threat. Give me the drive, he said. Open the door. And I'll decide what happens next. I felt something switch inside me. All the fear. The trembling. The uncertainty. Shifted. Because now I could hear something in his voice. Something cold. Self-assured. Cruel. And I realized. He wasn't afraid of consequences. He wasn't afraid of getting caught. He wasn't afraid of anything. That made him dangerous. But it also told me something else. Something sharp and useful. He was overconfident. He didn't expect resistance. And he didn't expect me. I leaned close to Emily, whispering almost silently. Listen to me. We don't need to outrun him. We just need to outsmart him. She lifted her tear-filled eyes. How? The hallway air shifted as he took another step. I swallowed hard and whispered. Because he doesn't know. There's another way out. Emily blinked at me, her eyes wide and wet. Her breath catching on fear and hope at the same time. Another way out, she whispered. I nodded, keeping my voice low. He was close now. Too close. His slow, confident steps echoed down the hall. Each one deliberate. Like a predator savoring the hunt. But there was something he didn't know. Something no one knew except me. The old house wasn't perfect. Not structurally. Not historically. When I moved in, the inspector pointed out a flaw. A strange one. Behind the back bedroom closet. Hidden behind warped drywall. And a layer of aging insulation. Was a narrow crawl space. Leading behind the water heater. To a service hatch. That opened beneath the back deck. Not a door. Not a window. A maintenance opening so small. Only someone desperate would think of it. I had never needed it. Never even touched it. Until now. I squeezed Emily's hand. Yes, I breathed into her hair. But we have to move quietly. She swallowed hard, fear shaking her words. What if he hears? I looked into her eyes, terrified, pleading. And gave the smallest, calmest nod. Let me worry about that. The hallway creaked. He was just feet away now. His shadow slid across the wall. Long and distorted. Stretching toward the bedroom door. Like dark fingers reaching. Then his voice came. Low, taunting, dripping with certainty. I don't know why you're hiding, he said softly. You know I'll get what I came for. Emily's body jerked with a silent sob. I put one finger to my lips, telling her. Quiet. Now. I crept toward the bedroom closet, moving slowly. Timing each step with the sound of his breathing. And the faint rustle of his jacket as he walked. Emily followed on trembling knees. Her fingers curled around mine like a lifeline. Inside the closet, the smell of cedar and old paint filled the air. The coats brushed against my shoulders as I pushed them aside, revealing the small, uneven panel I'd noticed months ago. Emily gasped silently. This, she mouthed. I nodded. Footsteps stopped. He was standing right outside the bedroom door. A pause. A long, chilling pause. Then the doorknob turned. Slowly. Emily covered her mouth. Tears spilling from the corners of her eyes. He spoke through the door. Voice soft, almost coaxing. Emily, you don't have to make this ugly. The doorknob clicked again. I crouched, fingers trembling slightly as I pried the panel loose. Revealing the cramped dark crawl space behind it. Filled with dust, cobwebs, and a path barely wide enough for us to slide through. I leaned close to Emily's ear. You go first. Her eyes widened. But she nodded. The bedroom door rattled suddenly. A forceful jerk. He was testing it. Emily crawled into the darkness. Hands shaking. Knees scraping against the wooden floor. I followed her. Pulling the panel back into place behind us. Just as the door shook again, harder this time. Inside the crawl space. The air was cold and stale. The wood groaning softly under our movements. It felt like we were tunneling through the ribs of an old beast. Every inch tight and suffocating. Emily whispered. I can't see anything. Just keep going, I whispered back. Guiding her with soft touches on her ankle. Behind us. Through the thin wood. Came a sound that made my blood turn to ice. The crack of wood. Under brute force. He was breaking the bedroom door. Emily gasped, crawling faster, her breath sharp and panicked. I pushed her gently. Hurry, Em. He's coming. Another crack. A splintering thud. Then his voice. Muffled but unmistakably close. You really think you can hide? Emily let out a trembling sob. But she kept crawling. We reached the far end of the space. The tiny service hatch hidden behind pipes. I whispered urgently. Push it open. She pressed her palms to the metal. Shaking. It stuck. Footsteps. Inside the bedroom. He had gotten in. I pressed my hand over hers. Adding my strength. Together, with one desperate shove. The hatch gave way. Cold night air rushed in. Freedom. We slipped beneath the deck. Crouched low, hearts pounding. Then. Above us. Floorboards creaked. He was in the bedroom. He was looking for us. Emily grabbed my hand, breath trembling. What do we do now? She whispered. I listened to the footsteps above us. Slow, deliberate, hunting. Anne whispered back. We don't run yet. Her eyes widened. Why? I swallowed hard. Because I think he's not alone. The night air under the deck was cold enough to sting. But neither of us moved. We crouched low, pressed into the dirt. Trying to stay invisible beneath the old wooden beams. Above us. His footsteps moved around the bedroom. Slow, patient, calculating. Emily's hand clutched mine so tightly. I could feel her pulse thudding against my palm. When I said earlier, "He's not alone," she looked like the ground had disappeared beneath her. Now, she whispered shakily. "What do you mean, not alone?" I listened. Not to the footsteps above, but to the silence outside the deck. That heavy, unnatural stillness. "There's no car engine," I whispered. "No footsteps on the gravel. Nobody circling the house." She swallowed hard. "That's good, right?" I shook my head. "No. If he came alone, he'd park close. He'd want an escape route. He'd want control." I paused. "He doesn't feel the need for that." Emily stared at me, breath trembling. "I don't understand." I leaned closer. "It means someone else drove him here. Someone else is watching the street. Someone else is running lookout." Her face drained of color. "He told me once," she whispered. A tremor in her voice. "He said he never works alone. Not for things he cares about," it thought. Above us, the floorboards creaked again. This time near the window side of the room. He was looking outside. Scanning the yard. Calculating. "Does he know about this space?" she whispered. "No," I whispered back. "But if the lookout is paying attention." I didn't finish the sentence. Because the thought of someone outside. Watching for movement. Waiting for us to slip up. It froze the words in my throat. Emily crawled closer to me. Her voice small and breaking. "I don't want to die like this." My chest tightened. I put my hands gently on either side of her face, guiding her gaze to mine. "You're not going to die," I whispered firmly. "I'm not letting that happen." Her breath quivered against my palms. "You don't know him," she whispered. "He doesn't stop. He doesn't get tired. He doesn't feel anything." "I know," I said quietly. "And that's why we don't run yet." A soft crunch interrupted us. From the far left side of the yard. Emily froze. I lifted a finger to my lips. She nodded, tears sliding silently down her cheek. We both listened. Another crunch. Slow. Steady. Measured. Someone was walking along the edge of the house. Not him. The footsteps were lighter. Deliberate but not heavy. Not confident. Not hunting. Scanning. Patrolling. Watching. Emily's breath hitched. "Is that?" "Yes," I whispered. Barely forming the word. "The lookout." We pressed lower into the dirt as the steps drew closer. I could hear leaves brushing under shoes. The soft scrape of jeans. Someone breathing through their nose. Then, a pair of feet stopped inches from the edge of the deck. Just above us. Emily's nails dug into my arm. The lookout exhaled quietly. Like someone bored. But trying to stay alert. He muttered something under his breath. Too low for us to understand. Then shifted his stance. A radio crackled. My heart seized. A voice came through. His voice. "Second one's hiding. Check the perimeter." Emily's eyes flew open, wide with terror. He knew. He knew we were out here. Somewhere. I pressed my mouth to her ear. "Stay silent." The lookout took one slow step closer. But then something changed. The man inside the house spoke again. This time louder, clearer. He sounded irritated. "She's not in the room anymore." Emily's breath caught in her throat. The lookout responded. "So she went outside. They can't be far." They. He knew I was here too. Emily mouthed one word. "Run." I shook my head instantly. No. If we run, they'll hear us. Her tears spilled faster, her breathing frantic. Then what do we do? I glanced toward the far end of the deck. The side that faced the neighbor's yard. The boards there were rotted. Gapped. Barely holding together. If we slipped through there. Quietly. We could reach the side gate. But only if they didn't move. Only if they didn't circle back. Only if they stayed separated. I leaned close, whispering. We're going toward the neighbor's fence. But slowly. Very slowly. Emily nodded, trembling hard. Okay, she whispered. Okay. I can do slow. But just as we moved. Inch by inch. A heavy thud shook the house above us. He'd come back into the bedroom. And then we heard it. The sound that froze us in place. A low, angry whisper. I know you're underneath. Emily's gasp was so small. It barely existed. But I felt it like a knife through the dark. He knew. He knew exactly where we were. The words, I know you're underneath, didn't just echo. They settled. Heavy. Cold. Certain. Emily's entire body jolted. Her breath punching out of her like she'd been hit. She grabbed my arm with both hands, trembling violently. He knows, she whispered. He knows. He knows. Oh my God. I cupped her face instantly. Emily. Look at me. Don't panic. Not now. But her eyes were wide and glassy. Her mind spiraling so fast she couldn't hear me. Then. The boards above us creaked. Slow, dragging footsteps. Moved across the room directly over our heads. Dust fell around us like falling ash. Emily covered her mouth. Choking on silent sobs. The lookout outside shifted his weight too. His boots scraping the dirt only a few feet away. We were squeezed between them. Pinned. Like prey caught between two jaws. I lowered my mouth to her ear. Emily, if you panic, we're done. Breathe with me. She squeezed her eyes shut. I placed my hand on her back. Feeling every rapid rise and fall of her ribs. One breath, I whispered. In. And out. She tried. Her breath cracked, but she tried. A board above us groaned again. He was pacing slowly. Listening for any shift in the dirt. Any movement beneath the deck. Then. He stopped. Directly above us. His shadow pressed through the floorboards. Blurry, distorted. But unmistakably still. Waiting. Listening. Emily's nails dug into my skin so hard I felt blood. She mouthed. Please, do something. But anything we did now would make noise. So I leaned close and whispered. We're going to move only when they move. Not before. Her lips trembled. But he's right above us. I know, I breathed. That's why we're going sideways, not forward. Her eyebrows pulled together in confusion. Then she realized. We weren't crawling toward the rotted boards yet. We were moving deeper beneath the deck first. Toward the dark pocket of space under the water pipes. The one spot no one could see from any angle. I touched her arm, guiding her. She moved like a shaking animal. Each motion tiny and desperate. Above us. He shifted his stance. A low thump reverberating through the beams. The lookout's voice came from the yard. You see anything? No, the man above replied. But they're here. Emily froze like a frightened deer. I pressed my fingers gently to the back of her hand. I'm right here, I whispered. Keep going. We slid deeper into the shadows under the water lines. The darkness swallowing us whole. Now we were hidden. Not safe. But hidden. The man inside stepped closer to the edge of the deck. Wood bending under his weight. For a moment, I thought he might drop to his knees and look through the gaps. But he didn't. Instead, he crouched slowly, and the boards groaned under him. Emily buried her face into my shoulder, her body trembling uncontrollably. He dragged his fingers along the floorboards, slowly, almost lazily, sending dust and splinters falling around us. Then he said it. The sentence that made every hair on my body stand up. Emily. I can hear your breathing. She jerked. A soft, involuntary gasp of terror. And I reacted instantly. I pressed my palm over her mouth. Gently but firmly. Pulling her tightly against me. Her tears soaked into my hand. Her body shaking like a trapped animal. I whispered into her ear, barely audible. He's lying. He can't hear you. He's trying to make you panic. But I didn't know if that was completely true. Then, just as panic clawed at her chest, a sharp whistle cut through the night. From outside. The lookout. A signal. Both of us froze. A few seconds later, the man above us stood up quickly. His boots thudding across the room. He said one phrase that chilled me. They found something. Emily's head snapped up. What does that mean? I swallowed hard. I don't know. But I had a terrifying guess. The lookout had seen movement. Somewhere else. Someone else. Someone who shouldn't be here. The man inside spoke again. Voice low, intent. Don't lose them. I'll check it. His footsteps moved away from the deck. Toward the front of the house. Emily grabbed my arm. What do we do? She whispered. I exhaled slowly, watching the shadows shift across the yard. We move, I whispered back. Now. Toward the fence. Her eyes widened. Because? I met her gaze. Because whatever they found won't distract them for long. We slipped through the dirt like shadows, crawling toward the far end of the deck, where the boards weakened into gaps. Emily's breathing shook with every movement. Each inhale tight and shallow. Like her lungs were running out of courage. Behind us, the house creaked as the man moved deeper inside. His footsteps sharp, controlled, purposeful. But the lookout. He was still outside. And whatever they'd have found, it wasn't good news. Emily whispered, barely holding her voice together. What do you think it was? What did they find? I didn't answer yet. Because as we reached the far edge of the deck, I finally saw it. Lit faintly by the neighbor's motion light. A third person. A figure standing near the side gate. Half hidden behind the tool shed. Still. Watching the front of the house. Not moving. Another lookout. My stomach collapsed. Emily followed my gaze and froze completely. Her lips parting in a silent, horrified gasp. How many are there? She whispered. More than 2, I whispered back. Maybe 3. Maybe more. She shook her head hard, tears spilling again. He told me once. When I want something, I don't come alone. I thought he was just being dramatic. I thought it was just to scare me. It was, I whispered. But it was also true. We crouched lower, pressing into the dirt as quietly as possible. The second lookout shifted. The faint crunch of the gravel snapping the frozen night air. Emily flinched. He's too close, she mouthed. I know, I whispered. But he hasn't seen us. Yet. The wind pushed the neighbor's fence. And it creaked slightly. A small, innocent noise. But the lookout reacted instantly. Turning toward the sound, hand going to his pocket. He was alert. On edge. Ready. We didn't move. We didn't even breathe. After a few tense seconds, he looked away again, focusing on the house. Emily leaned closer, her voice a trembling thread. What do we do now? We can't go forward. We can't go back. We can't stay here. She was right. We were boxed in on every side. One man in the house. One guarding the driveway. One watching the side gate. A tightening cage. But cages always had one thing. Weak points. I scanned the backyard, every shadow, every path. And then I saw them. The neighbors' motion lights weren't staying on. They were flickering. Not randomly. Fading. Returning. Fading again. Like someone. Or something. Was moving slowly through their yard. Emily followed my gaze. What is that? She whispered. I don't know, I said honestly. A dark shape shifted behind the neighbor's fence. Not fully visible. Just a glimmer of motion through the slats. The lookout noticed it too. Hey, he hissed toward the house. Raising his voice just enough. I think someone's in the neighbor's yard. My pulse skyrocketed. Someone else? A neighbor? A stray animal? Or another member of their group? Before I could process it, the man inside the house answered from the front. Stay focused. It's probably them. The lookout's grip tightened on something in his pocket. Metal glinting slightly. A weapon. Emily's body collapsed into mine, silently sobbing. They're everywhere, she whispered. We're not getting out. I cupped her face gently, forcing her to meet my eyes. Emily. I whispered softly but firmly. You came here because you trusted me. Don't stop now. Her breath caught. They'll kill us, she whispered. Not if we move smart, I said. And not if we wait for the right moment. What moment? I looked back toward the flickering lights. Whoever is in that yard is distracting the lookout. Her eyebrows knitted together, terrified. So, we use it? A faint creak echoed from the neighbor's fence again. The shadow moving closer. The lookout turned fully alert. His back was toward us. Emily gasped. Now, she whispered. Not yet, I whispered. Wait for him to step away. The lookout took one step toward the fence. My heart pounded. He took another. Emily squeezed my hand so hard it hurt. One more step and... A loud metallic bang erupted from the neighbor's yard. Emily jumped. The lookout spun toward the noise. I whispered sharply. Now. We slipped out from beneath the deck and darted toward the fence. Silent, low, desperate. The cold night air hit my face like ice. Emily's fingers trembled in mine as we ran. Through mud, leaves, fear. We reached the fence. I turned to boost her up. But then. From behind the shed. A voice whispered. Don't move. Not his voice. Not the lookout's voice. A fourth voice. Someone we hadn't seen. Someone waiting in the shadows. Emily froze mid-step, her entire body shaking. I turned slowly. And saw a figure step out of the darkness. Face hidden. Hand steady. Stay exactly where you are, he said quietly. They're coming. Emily's breath shattered. My heart sank into my stomach. There weren't 3 men. There weren't 4. There were more. And the worst part? The one who found us didn't look like he wanted to hurt us. He looked like he wanted to warn us. The man who stepped out from behind the shed didn't move toward us. He didn't raise his hands. He didn't rush. He just stood there. Half lit by the weak spill of the neighbor's motion light. Face shadowed. Voice calm, low, steady. Emily's breath hitched sharply. Who are you? She whispered. He didn't answer at first. His eyes flicked toward the lookout who had walked toward the fence. Now distracted, searching the neighbor's yard. Then he turned back to us and said something that chilled me to the bone. I told you not to move because you still have a chance to survive. Emily flinched. My pulse hammered. Are you with them? I asked, voice tight. His jaw clenched. The smallest twitch. A hint of something unspoken. Then he shook his head once. No, he whispered. Not anymore. That pause. That single, heavy pause. Made something shift in Emily's face. You. She breathed. Her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and recognition. You look familiar. His eyes flicked to her. I should, he said quietly. We've crossed paths. Just not like this. I studied him carefully. His stance. His breathing. The way he kept glancing over his shoulder. This wasn't a hunter. This wasn't a lookout. This was someone caught in the wrong side of a game he no longer wanted to play. He stepped closer. Slow, cautious. Listen to me, he whispered urgently. You need to leave. Right now. Emily stepped back, panic rising. No, she cried softly. They're everywhere. There's one inside, one in the yard, one at the front. 3, the man corrected. 3 you saw. My stomach clenched. And the 4th, I whispered. He nodded. And more on the way, he added. You're running out of minutes. Emily shook her head wildly. This can't be happening. Why are you helping us? What do you want? He looked at her for a long, heavy moment. Not with threat. With something closer to regret. You're not supposed to be part of this, he said softly. You got pulled into something bigger than him. Bigger than you know. Emily shook, tears spilling down her cheeks. He said he had friends. He said he had people who. He doesn't have friends, the man cut in quietly. He has followers. People he owns. People he breaks. People he manipulates because they're too scared to leave. His throat tightened. He looked away. I know, he whispered. Because I was one of them. The bottom dropped out of Emily's world. Her legs buckled, and she grabbed my arm to stay upright. You worked for him, she whispered, voice barely audible. He nodded. Not willingly at first. But yes. Emily's face twisted with fear and betrayal. You know what's on the drive? He hesitated. Enough to bury him, he said. And enough to bury anyone who helped him. Emily's sob cracked the night open. I didn't mean to take it, she whispered. I just wanted to stop him. I didn't know it would. I didn't know it was this big. He stepped closer, lowering his voice more. You taking that drive saved lives, he whispered. But it also put a target on your back. He won't stop until he gets it. He pointed behind us. Toward the fence. There's a narrow gap between your yard and the neighbor's garage. It's dark. Cameras can't see it. Stay low, move fast. Emily looked sick with panic. He'll hear us. No, the man cut in. They're coming toward the front of the house. Someone triggered the neighbor's motion sensors on purpose. Emily blinked. On purpose, who? He looked straight at me. You triggered them, he said. When you moved closer to the fence. But the timing helped you. It pulled the lookout off his post. I hadn't even realized. Emily grabbed my shirt, panicked. Why are you helping us? Why not call them? Why not? The man's voice softened. Because I'm done watching him destroy people. And because he's not the only one he's hurt. Emily wiped her face, trembling. What does that mean? He hesitated. Then said something that made my stomach twist. He hurt someone I cared about. Someone who didn't survive. Emily's breath shattered. He stepped back slowly, urgency creeping into his tone. You have 10 seconds. Go now. And do not stop until you reach the neighbor's yard. From there, stay low and head for the cul-de-sac. When you see the old oak tree, you run straight into the woods. Don't look back. Emily's voice shook violently. Will he come after us? The man swallowed hard. Not if I distract him. Emily's eyes widened with horror. You'll die. His expression barely changed. But something inside his eyes broke. Maybe, he whispered. But I'm already dead to him. Emily clutched my hand, sobbing. The man turned away. Go, he hissed. Now. Before he notices you're gone. The lookout yelled something from the front yard. We didn't wait. We ran. Fast, low, desperate. Slipping through the gap between the fence and the garage. As shouts erupted behind us. As we reached the far end of the yard, I heard the man's voice behind us. Yelling. Arguing. Distracting them. And for one terrifying moment, I saw shadows converging toward him. Emily squeezed my hand so tightly it hurt. Don't look back, I whispered. But as we crossed into the dark of the woods, I risked one glance over my shoulder. And saw him standing there. In the glow of the porch light. Arms raised. Sacrificing himself to save us. Emily sobbed. I held her close as we ran into the trees. And left behind the man. Who'd finally broken free. By choosing to protect the one person his tormentor wanted to destroy. And somewhere behind us, amid shouting, chaos, and footsteps pounding the dirt, the nightmare we'd barely escaped finally erupted into the night.